Syrian boy's life turned around after volunteers helped him undergo the necessary surgery. A meningitis patient becomes a giver after long-term caring by volunteers. Welcome to Dai Headlines. I'm Simon Gan. Thank you for joining us. A 14-year-old Syrian boy was diagnosed of Crohn's disease in 2011. The war had delayed his treatment, but fortunately, Tzu Chi Jordan Chapter helped him undergo the necessary surgery. Let's see his story.
If we let him go back to the home, we may lose him. Coming from his back, from here.
14-year-old Syrian boy Osama's mother is crying in pain. He was diagnosed of Crohn's disease 9 years ago and has never received treatment. He fled from Syria to Jordan due to the civil war and is now seriously ill.
He has a serious problem in his abdomen. He can't eat. He is very weak. The disease called Crohn's disease.
While his parents worried about him, they did not know where to go to seek help.
My child is living in pain. Could kind-hearted people help him, all right?
Three months after the surgery, emaciated Osama has gained weight, but he still needs anti-pneumonia vaccine. Through the help of team of pharmacist Wang Zhiming, a Taiwanese pharmaceutical company has delivered the medicine to Jordan with a discount. It saved the patient $5,200 in medical cost.
We can form positive affinities with him and turn his life around.
Now Osama can walk and his weight increased from 18 kilograms to 30 kilograms. It is amazing. Even the doctor thinks it is amazing.
Seeing the rebirth of the child, Dr. Muhammad, who is usually serious and stern, is deeply touched.
He's obese.
Yes.
Yes, when Mr. Chen has told me for 1 hour about the health, and he's very better now, I feel that I want to cry. And some tears falls on my face.
Osama's every little step marks immense improvement. This is not the end of the care volunteers. They continue to provide care even after he goes home.
Thank you for performing a surgery on my son. If not, he would have almost died.
This picture with me 22 years.
شو هلا مع انك تعالجت حابب تعمل؟
بساعد الناس مثل ما ساعدوني. بدي أصير دكتور ما بدي أخذ مصاري على حد.
As Typhoon Hagibis made landfall in Japan during mid-October, it brought about much destruction to parts of Nagano City. Tzu Chi volunteers were the first to arrive and hosted a hot meal distribution for those still recovering from the windstorm.
Typhoon Hagibis destroyed thousands of homes in Japan. Though they are a 4-hour car ride away, hearts of the volunteers from Tzu Chi Japan Chapter is very much with the disaster victims.
ちなみに8日ってお昼ですか夜ですか？お昼ですね。はい。
Volunteers decided to provide them with a hot meal to show their care. On the 3rd of November, the team gathered to plan out the logistics of the hot meal distribution, taste test the meal which will be provided, and purchase the ingredients needed for the meal. The following few days, the team went over things to pay attention to for distribution day, and also wash and sterilize the container bowls to hold the food.
很辛苦哈。
你刚下班回来啊？对，刚下班。
下班过来。
The day before the distribution, volunteers were in the kitchen working well into the night to make sure the food was cooked well, and the Jingsu tea was made. Tzu Chi's eco-friendly blanket was even put to use to keep the food warm.
小心哦，拜拜。
We'll station ourselves at 11 and prepare for the event. The distribution begins at 11:30.
The volunteers quickly packed 50 bowls to send to the Toyonomachi town office. Meanwhile, at the distribution site, the local residents are warmed by the bowl of hot rice in their hands.
When we held the bowl of vegetable medley rice, it was still hot, even though you brought it from Tokyo. Very many local residents came, so it was gone quite quickly.
As these residents are still in the throes of recovery, this hot meal from Tzu Chi is sure to warm their hearts, and now they know that Tzu Chi volunteers are right alongside them spiritually.
A group of Japanese students came to Hualien Tzu Chi Senior High School for an exchange. Let's see how the Japanese students feel about the visit.
Our school meets 140th anniversary.
Speaking of fluent English, they are the students from Iwate Prefecture Morioka Daiichi High School. Established 137 years ago, the school is designated by the Ministry of Education and Science of Japan as a super globalized high school. The students went to Tzu Chi Senior High School on an exchange, trying to understand the difference in educational culture between Taiwan and Japan.
I've not come across a school with grades from kindergarten to high school. I am also surprised to see students from other countries coming here to study. It is different from our local schools. It turns out that it is already internationalized here.
In order to gain a deep understanding of the learning environment of Tzu Chi Senior High School, these 12 Japanese high school students joined a class to actually experience the study atmosphere. Through this visit, students from both schools can also broaden their horizons, making them become more competitive internationally.
On the evening of November 11, a fire broke out in Chiayi City, Taiwan, and burned down 12 wooden houses. Fortunately, no one was hurt.
A fire broke out at Chiayi City and burned for around an hour, destroying 12 houses. Fortunately, nobody was injured, but everything in the houses was destroyed. Tzu Chi volunteers arrived at the scene the following morning to evaluate the condition and also to give out one blanket and one set of emergency cash to every surviving family.
It's nice that everyone is safe. The blanket was made from plastic bottles. When he saw the blanket, he was like seeing warmth and also the hope. We also gave him the emergency cash, and this can help him.
Tzu Chi volunteers bring best wishes to comfort the survivors. Volunteer Pamei happened to see her daughter's long-lost friend.
I was so excited, she almost cried and almost cried too. I was extremely happy because we had been trying to find her, but we couldn't. But when I saw her here, I was extremely delighted.
This accident caught them all off guard. but the love in the world will support them to recover again.
54-year-old Lai Wenxuan contracted meningitis when he was young, and due to the spreading of his lumbar disc disease, his hands and feet have been left useless. However, his positivity towards life has been very inspiring. Let's take a look.
I've been doing this for about 3 years now. Each day is about the same. I repeat the same exercise.
运动占你一天的时间占你多少
？4个小时。
Because the circulation in my left hand isn't good, it feels numb all the time. It will turn cold. My right hand is good, my left isn't. So I will hit it to get the circulation going. I keep a positive outlook.
进来了，好，请进。Hello， 赖先生。Hello， 你好。我特地买的麦片。
今天再给你带麦片来，还有蘑菇粉呢。好，感谢师兄。
赖先生，你那脚受伤吼？为什么受伤？
哦，这个。
嘿。
这个我不知道啊，就是斜形啊，不知道，差不多好了啦。本来是肿得很大啊，因为现在不方便去看医生啊。
这个床垫是我们当初买的吗？
这个是我们跟他结缘的。
他就来说他的床铺哈。
He said his mattress collapsed and it was uncomfortable to sleep. The original was from the landlord, so we went to the market in Beito to look for a new one for him.
那种全新的那种床垫。
It was like 2 or 3 months after I moved in, and this side collapsed because I always do my exercises here. I'm not greedy. I'm happy to have something I can use.
你看一翻开，就说这一句就是世间若无突破困难这件事，就没有所谓的成就感，成就圆融的智慧。
Maybe people may think differently, but just like the Master says, if you think of this place as heaven, then life will be good. If you want to think of this place as hell, then it will seem like I am locked up here. I've been locked up here for 2 or 3 years. I haven't gone downstairs because someone needs to carry me if I want to leave the house. So I haven't left the house in 2 or 3 years, but I feel like I get plenty of loving care here. For example, I get visits from the Tzu Chi volunteers and from my sister and friends. Some people say I live in a jail, but that's not how I think.
我要换100在里面。
哦 ，OK， 所以我想说，今天怎么有一张100的？哦。240，所以就是340。
I feel since I have the ability to help, I insist on always donating 10 NT dollars. 1 NT and 10 NT makes a world of difference. If 1 NT can help 1 person, then 10 NT can help 10 people. This is why I always donate 10 NT at a time.
我坚持我的理念就是，我相信我一定会好。我就相信我一定会好。
Overseas Tzu Chi volunteers from various countries return to their spiritual hometown in Hualien. Let's take a look.
你看师父哦，中指不动，无名指。
It is the first time for an African volunteer to hold a handbell and a temple block. She registered for a class to learn from the master in Jinshi Abol and hoped that she could use Buddhist musical instruments in her hometown one day.
I'm not familiar with this instrument and found it difficult to use it. I'll practice more, maybe better later.
To understand the basic meaning of 3 bowls and how to react when listening to the handbell, and the meaning of the gesture when worshipping the Buddha.
Another group of African volunteers are learning ways to conduct interviews and taking photos. They will become documenting volunteers, recording touching stories in the future.
Through today's sharing, I know more about what documenting volunteers need to do. I also took some photos of the course and keep record, because I want to bring this information home and let everyone know about their tasks.
Overseas volunteers return to the spiritual home of Chi, attending classes and having a tour. They also visited Jinshi Hall to better understand Chi's principles, so they can share Dharma teachings with the people in their countries.
In today's feature on doctors, we'll introduce you to the original doctor that was staff at the Tzu Chi Hospital, Dr. Cai Renbi. Let's get to know him a little bit more.
In the past 10 years, Li Rongshen, who has polycystic kidney disease, has had to report to dialysis 3 times a week at the Tzu Chi Hospital. In his eyes, Dr. Cai Renbi is his lifesaver.
One time I was experiencing massive kidney hemorrhaging and the doctor saved my life. If he hadn't, I probably wouldn't be here today.
When Dr. Cai was a senior in high school, his mother was diagnosed with cancer, which inspired him to major in medicine. After he graduated from Hualien Tzu Chi University, he began serving at the Dalian Tzu Chi Hospital. As he was very dedicated in his work, in 2008, the superintendent of the hospital asked him to head to the Dolio clinic to set up the hemodialysis room.
When we first went there were very few residents. We couldn't ask the patients from Dalian to go there for treatment, so it was really starting from zero.
He spent a lot of time at Dolio, and in the beginning he would have to be in 2 places. He'd have to take care of the dialysis patients here and the medical quality, while also looking after the administrative stuff for Dalian.
The medical and hospital community over there were worried we were out to steal their patients. In the end, they came to realize we weren't, and we had our own patient crowd. It turns out we established a pretty good relationship with the local Dolio doctors after all.
The past 10 years of quality medical care in Dolio has helped the team win many distinguished awards, with the Silver Tower of Taiwan Continuous Improvement Award for Kidney Care to be one of them. However, 3 years ago, Dr. Cai's health could not keep up with his spirits and took a turn for the worst. He had to remove his right thyroid, and earlier this year, he began having heart issues.
It turned out I had some cardiovascular problems. One artery was blocked about 50%, while another was about 20%. When you suffer from such a problem, perhaps when we are educating patients on certain topics, we'll hold more truth. Like after I started exercising, I began to implore my patients to exercise as well.
As a patient himself, Dr. Cai can fully understand how his patients feel and uses his own experience to encourage patients to keep up their health and spirit.
Southeast Asian caregivers account for 88% of the total caregivers in Taiwan and are on call almost 24 hours a day. The physical and mental stress is too much to imagine as we learn more about their difficult lives.
很痛吗？有一点，感觉在这里比较很硬。很硬的脖子哦。对。
Olian has been a caregiver in Taiwan for 6 years. She helps an elderly woman massage her neck and arms. The lady she cares for has mobility issues. This caregiver, who has received nursing training, helps massage her and turns her over at an appointed time every day.
杯跟的早餐，给的
I'll prepare breakfast for her, give her dinner, give her medicine. After she takes medicine, I'll take her blood pressure and turn her over every 2 hours. I also ask her if she's not feeling well.
2个小时，2个小时，然后还有问她有没有不舒服。
There are about 295,000 caregivers in Taiwan. Foreign caregivers, such as Olian, account for about 260,000 people, or 88% of this group. This means there are only 35,000 domestic caregivers. Of the foreign caregivers, 240,000 people have been assigned to families, and 15,000 are in healthcare institutions, such as medical institutions. That is to say, there are 240,000 families with elderly grandparents dependent on foreign caregivers. Without these foreign caregivers, it would be difficult for Taiwan's elderly people to enjoy their old age. In the news, we often see unfortunate incidents involving foreign caregivers, but these are just a few isolated incidents. About 260,000 foreign caregivers. Foreign caregivers have been a great help caring for Taiwan's aging community.
他照顾我爸从去年6月到12月。
She took care of my dad from June to December last year. Even the nurse saw that he didn't have any hemorrhoids, which is a strong credit to her. My father passed away in December last year and she began to care for my mother.
Olian took care of Miss Wu's father and mother one after another so that she wouldn't have to worry. The attention of Olian was that of a member of the family.
In fact, she has been in contact with our family for more than a year, so when my father passed away last year, she did the most crying. I also comforted her during this time. I'll find a way to keep her because she's already like one of our family.
Filipino care worker Lisa and others took advantage of a day off on Sunday as they cooked their hometown food in the Taoyuan City Care Workers Union, helping heal their homesickness.
The first time I came to Taiwan, I didn't have a break for 3 years, and then I came to Taiwan for the second time. I know many friends. I go out because if we're Filipino, we'll say, "Hey, are you from the Philippines?" We'll chat and exchange FB contacts.
Foreign care workers like Lisa get only a few days off every week. The average salary for Taiwan caregivers is $1,300 to $2,100, which foreign caregivers just get $600, though they are almost always on call 24 hours a day, and their pressure is great. According to the survey, the proportion of foreign caregivers who don't take off any days throughout the year is as high as 34.7%, and 54.1% only get off 1 day a week, even though it may not be a full day off.
Many employers say that if you go out, but in fact it's not a full day off. When going out, they may first need to prepare breakfast in the morning for grandfather or change their diapers. And then when they come back, they may need to prepare dinner or other things. A lot of caregivers joke that in Taiwan, Sundays are much shorter than average days.
With foreign migrant workers engaged in factory work, fishing, and caregiving, despite this relatively low-level labor work, many do not give up on their dreams of self-improvement. The 140 organization helps cultivate these migrant workers through education.
Our organization has always had a clear core goal and mission from its founding to more than 4 years now. That is to make every Southeast Asian migrant worker in Taiwan enjoy their time in Taiwan and make it valuable and inspiring.
嗨，大家好，我叫杨妮，我找到一个很好的工作在台湾的工厂当翻译。
After getting training from 140, she returned to her home country to find a good job for herself or start her own business. Yani is one such successful case.
Because the average salary in Indonesia is about $300 a month, but her current translation work pays her more than $600. We believe that she has turned her life around and has exceeded all of our expectations for her.
Foreign caregivers leave their country to come to Taiwan to take care of the elderly, who often suffer from limited mobility. They have extreme work pressure, which can be almost 24 hours a day. They are the most important link in our elder care system. However, they also need to be appreciated and better compensated for their hard work and dedication to their employers.
Through drawing, a group of elderly students at the Beito humanitarian class recollects their most beautiful memories. We'll leave you with these images. Thank you and goodbye.